All right, guys, I'm AOA. This is AOA Shed. Today we got Krista, the queen of networking.
The networking queen.
Yes, ma'am.
The one and only.
Take us back. What was it like early on for you?
Early on.
And where were you?
How far back?
Earliest memory, starting time.
Well, I'm 40, so.
Let's go. Let's say middle school type time.
Middle school? Okay. I went to middle school here, Norwell Middle School, to be exact. I went to elementary here, too. Moved to Texas for college. For high school. Graduated high school there, moved to St. Louis for college, and lived there for 2 decades.
Okay.
I never left after I graduated. St. Louis is one of those cities that it just keeps you. And when you leave, you always go back. You know, it's just one of those places.
What made you move to Texas?
I lived with my father and his wife at the time. My stepmother got a promotion with her job that took us to Texas.
Mm-hmm. And then what brought you back to Fort Wayne now?
They decided to move back to Fort Wayne after I graduated high school, and I said, hell no. You are not taking me from Indiana to Dallas, Texas, and then back to Indiana. That ain't gonna happen. So, St. Louis it was. And then just a few years ago, my father passed away. And before he passed, like a couple years before that is when I moved back here. So it's been about 5 years now. And as we were talking about earlier, I studied the scene, the lack thereof, actually, in this city. Everybody says that there's no hip hop scene here. There is. You just have to create it and be consistent with your creations. Consistency is key. Unless you're consistently losing, then that just sucks.
Now, back to St. Louis, did they have a music scene?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everybody. Okay, the difference between performing, like, say here or in Indianapolis, somewhere in Indiana, versus there is everybody there participates in the music industry at some capacity. They're a writer, they're a photographer, they're something relating to the industry somehow. Everybody. So when you're performing there, it's like American Idol. You're getting critiqued by everybody in the room, you know. And when you come, you know, you're looking for your fans here. You know, people with flashlights and all that shit. That ain't going down in St. Louis. It might if you're good, but definitely critics.
Okay.
But in a good way, because constructive criticism is only beneficial if you can accept it.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I know you said you studied the landscape. Is there good music being made out here in Fort Wayne?
Yeah, absolutely. There's good music being made everywhere. This music industry is 90% marketing and promotions, 10% music.
Mm.
So without the other, all you have is the music, which is great. Music is timeless. But I could be bringing Jay-Z to town, and if I don't post it and advertise it, guess what? It's going to be me and Jay-Z in that venue, because nobody's going to know about it. So your music is the same way. It doesn't matter if you distribute it on a major platform or on DistroKid. It's going to do the same thing if you don't put the marketing dollars behind it, if you don't do playlisting, if you don't do everything involved in making it visible to the world.
So when, let's say, marketing, is there a lack of knowledge in Fort Wayne? Because I see people posting, and maybe that's because I'm the interviewer looking for more artists to speak to, so it's going to always pop up in my feed of new content. Mm-hmm. But is it overall a lack of knowledge, a lack of not knowing which resources or
I think this industry, period, with the changes that it's gone through over to streaming, and I think it's a lot of the blind leading the blind and a lack of resources. The resources are available, but maybe not locally, or maybe, and people are afraid they're stuck in their little box. I just told one of my artists, FHB Flick, yesterday, he was talking about a stage show, saying that he wasn't sure if he was going to do this or this because he was kind of uncomfortable in the moment. And I said, when you're comfortable, you're not working hard enough. So go get uncomfortable and see what happens, and that's just kind of the motto. But yeah, I mean, industry is, as a whole, advanced faster than we can keep up. A lot of us can keep up. And as soon as we catch up, guess what? It advanced again. It's just like, computer programs. They update every month, and then you're screwed because your license is gone, and, on your...
How do you feel about AI being a part in the music game?
I think everything's turning to metaverse and NFTs and all of that. I think that as they introduce technology to us, or technological programs, or anything having to do with technology, that it's actually whoever they is, their way of teaching us how to advance with those things without putting too much on us all at one time. Like, they control what we get, obviously, and the knowledge that we have and the tools that we have to apply. So I think it's like their way of schooling us now that colleges are fading out and all that. It's keeping us up with the times, because if they don't teach us, then they'll never discover new things, because everybody, even kids these days, are geniuses, and if you don't give them the tools to play with, they're never going to learn it.
Right.
So kind of like if we put music out, you don't advertise it, nobody's going to learn it, nobody's going to hear it.
Right.
Same process. Same thought process.
Okay.
Different beast.
Okay. Take us back right after college. You graduated.
Yep.
Were you doing graphic designs for a bunch of people? Were you just doing it out of love? Tell me what was going on for artists to then find you, and when did that happen? After
I graduated college, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do, because the next level in my degree was video game design, and no. So I wasn't interested in going that route. So I was like, I spent $32,000 on college for what? So I just, I lived in St. Louis. Like I said, everybody in St. Louis participates in the music industry somehow. At the time, I was running the marketing department for a mortgage company. And a couple of my employees were local artists. One in particular I still work with today after 2 decades, and he's actually signed to Jim Jones. Shout out Dipset. Shout out to Spotlight from St. Louis, because that's his name. BL Spot is what he goes by. But his uncle owned the company that I worked for at the time, and it was when the MySpace was popping, like make your own page and put your music on your page, all that fun stuff. It'd be kind of cool if we could still do that. Is MySpace still up?
It is, but I don't go on. I don't know anybody.
I don't know. Okay. Anyways, so he asked me to post his music online one day.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, I didn't know anything about what I was doing. So I was just, sampling, playing with this stuff, and one of the radio DJs, actually first it was one of the local producers in St. Louis, shout out to County Brown, Addicted Dopeness. He contacted me, and he's like, hey, I need you to do that for me too, post my stuff too, because it was getting attention. And then eventually DJ C-Note from 104.1 FM in St. Louis contacted me. He was doing a mixtape, if I'm not mistaken, it was called Money Hungry Hustlers.
Okay. And
Hustlers was spelled with the STO, because you can't hustle without the STO. You can't spell hustle without the STO.
Okay. I like that.
So C-Note contacted me, wanted me to, since all these artists were kind of had their, what's going on over there, I started booking the slots for his mixtape.
Nice.
And that turned into working for the first magazine I ever worked for, which was Inbox Magazine and DVD out of East St. Louis. Shout out to Bobby Shelton and the crew. And that turned into a tour with the Source Magazine's Unsigned Hype Tour. I was the writer and photographer for this whole tour. I wrote the articles and took all the performance photos. We actually came here. Nick Nice was the winner when we came here. We were just talking about that the other day. I haven't seen her since I've been back here, but she was definitely the winner of this city.
Nice.
If I remember correctly, it was at Legends.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time ago. And that tour turned into a tour with Jody Breeze and Big Duke from Boys in the Hood, Bad Boy South. Same scenarios, talent search type thing. And then I managed an artist on my own in 2018 and 19, Kizzy, Game Winners out of St. Louis. He had several records on the radio, and he took me on like a tour where I was his manager, but he was showing me, you know, kind of what he was doing independently without a manager. He got to a point where he needed somebody to help manage his business, not him as an artist. He's very, very independent. He's a veteran. He didn't really need management as an artist. He manages himself very well, but everybody in the industry, Stevie Stone, for instance, when they first come in to the industry, if they come in signed straight out the gate, they're spoon-fed a lot of things that they don't realize knowledge-wise that they're lacking. So I was saying Stevie, for instance, you know, he was 2007 to 2010, he was signed to Ruthless Records by Tamika Wright, Eazy-E's late wife. And then from 2011, he went on the KOD tour with Tech. Tech signed him that year, and Stevie actually had 2 record deals in 10 years, from 2011 to 2021, with Tech Nine's Strange Music. Shout out to the Strange family. And 2021, I think it was February. Isn't that crazy? I know, like, the time is a lot of research and stuff. But 2021 February, he started his own label. Stevie Stone is an independent CEO of Odyssey Records. He's also the leading artist on his own label too. So he signed himself to his own label.
Hell yeah.
And he's got some beasts under him. Spade the Ripper from St. Louis, Pint. Where's Pint from? I think he's from Oregon. Okay. Portland, maybe. I think that's what it is. DJ Ant Bomb is Stevie's primary tour DJ. He's out of Burlington, Iowa. So he's spread out all over the place. Stevie's main crowd of fans or whatever is actually located in Colorado.
Wow.
Yeah, Denver and Colorado Springs. Yeah, so that's not a bad place to have fans.
No, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, the lack of resources that he had, like, technology-wise, to, you know, put music out or to just not to distribute. He had that part. It was more the simple knowledge stuff that you don't know that you need until you need it. I was able to kind of guide him through a process, things that random knowledge that I never knew I wanted to know, but, you know, it's off. You know, hey, I know how to do that. It's kind of how it went. But I've known Stevie since I was 18. So we're more family oriented than anything. You know, his whole team, Spade the Ripper, I've known him since I was 18, probably too. We all grew up together in the streets of St. Louis. We learned our hustle in St. Louis. I'm a lethal weapon out here. I have a college education. I learned how to hustle in St. Louis, and I was born in country bumpkin, Indiana. Yeah. But, you know, last year, the end of last year, I've been mentored for the past 5 years, which has helped my elevation, you know, over time by someone very significant in the industry. His name is Andre Williams. And he was previously the executive producer and A&R at Universal Music Group, at Epic Records, and he was the vice president at one time. He was either the vice president of Epic and I think he was the executive producer at Radar as well. Okay. He was, I don't remember. Anyways, he's got ties in the industry, to say the least, and he owns a company out of Atlanta called I Swim With Sharks Incorporated, in which he hired me after multiple years of mentoring me and teaching me stuff that some people should know in positions that they're in the industry. And until I learned it, I didn't realize the lack of knowledge that there is. You asked me a question earlier about do I feel like what is missing? Artist development is one of the main ones. Lack of knowledge, yes, but not on purpose.
Okay.
The record labels used to train an artist how to compose themselves and how to read a room and how to be an artist, basically. And it's not just something that you can just go do. It is a business. The music business and the music itself is two totally different things.
Okay.
But you can't have one without the other.
Right.
If you want to be somebody.
What personality trait did all the successful ones share compared to ones that always hit your inbox but may not show up and do things like to the standard of someone who is up there or trying to get there?
Where is there? What is your idea of success? Because everybody's
is different.
Current level is different, and everybody says they want to go to the next level. They want to level up. My level up is different than yours and somebody else's, and down the line, everybody's different, right? Everybody's paths are different. Everybody's history is different, and how you got there is different. There's no way I could go back and teach somebody in 19 years at this point of the knowledge that I've gained, because it hasn't necessarily been a professor in school teaching me how to do shit. It's live and learn, and that's what this industry is living, experiencing, and whether you learn from those experiences or not determines your longevity in the industry. But like I said, consistency is key, because you do anything consistently in a positive way, success is inevitable. You can't lose. You can't. And even when you do lose, as long as you learned a lesson from it, you still won. Because next time it comes around, you're going to be like, you're going to know better. So,
okay.
A lot of snakes in the industry. I have been fortunate in my time in the industry. I have been scammed one time. It'll never happen again. It was pretty bad. Not even going to speak on who did it, what the situation was, and give them that glory. Not even going to happen. But did it suck? Yes. Did we expose the hell out of them? Yes. We made a lot of people very aware of the situation. Did it piss some people off? Mm-hmm. Pissed me off. I got scammed too, even though, I'm in a position in the industry where I handle a lot of booking for shows, for tours, for just booking, period. So if people are entrusting in me and that I am putting them in the right hands, or their money in the right hands, or their artists in the right hands of somebody that's actually going to be beneficial and not take their money and disappear, well, then that's on me. Even though I'm not the one that physically took the money, I always feel responsible for replacing. So in that situation, I did replace the shows of the people that participated and involuntarily. But does it still suck? Yeah, it does. But your reputation in this industry is everything. Everything. Cosigns mean a lot in this industry, depending on who they're coming from. Because you can say, me, and when I'm out in the streets, I can be like, who? There's no cosign there. But if the opposite, obviously whoever is asking is going to feel a little bit better about working with you, right? And that's how I have maintained my position in the industry, is through word of mouth and good business.
Okay. What do you think about the labels? Do you think labels are good? Do you think, everybody says the big bad labels stay independent. Some people say, oh, they can't wait to get signed. What is your opinion?
I feel like independence is 1,000% the way to go. The company that I work for, I Swim with Sharks Incorporated, the CEO, my mentor, Andre, he kind of focused his company around the idea of giving independent artists mainstream resources without having you sign your life away in the process, take your publishing and, you know, everything else that goes along with it. He worked in the labels for so long and had to turn away so many great artists because of their rules or their stipulations. Now he can put whoever out. He's the boss, he's the CEO, and he can give those artists the same exact resources he did when he worked at the labels, because guess what? That's something you don't lose. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter if you quit a company. Guess what? The knowledge that you learned when you worked there, you take that with you. They can't take that back from you. You take that knowledge and you elevate and capitalize on it, and you know, you do better than what they were doing, mm-hmm. using what they taught you. That's life. You know, the relationships, even you learn more about who you are and what you're willing to deal with as an individual. And then the next time, like you say, you break up with this person, the next time, guess what? You're going to know what to look for and what you don't like in this person, because you're not going to go for it over here. And then eventually, hopefully, you find your match along the way. But it's a process, you know? It really is. You should trust the process, though. There is no elevator to success. You have to take the steps.
Yeah.
But trust the process. Shout out to Rap-A-Lot Midwest and Trust the Process. What up, Prez, Ink Dog, Derry on the Don, and everybody that's come to Fort Wayne recently from Chicago. You know, we're kind of bridging the gap a little bit. I actually have Derry on the Don and Ink Dog here the 16th. So what, next week? Mm-hmm. They're performing with Fraser Boy at Carl's Tavern. You should come.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be dope. Yeah.
Do you have a family?
I have a large family, yes. And that would seem like a weird question to some people, but not where I come from. I am blessed to have my mother still. My dad passed away a few years ago, but he is where the music bone in my body comes from, I guess. I don't play any instruments. My little brothers play guitar fluently, acoustic and bass and electric. My dad was a bass player, but he also owned a recording studio here. So my whole life he was in bands. He was, you know, music, everything. I grew up in the studio. I like take naps as a kid on top of PA cabinets, playing, you know, live playing music. It's just in me. But I never wanted to learn any instruments. I just was gravitated to the business, fascinated me, and the rapid change. You know, I got ADD. You know, I can't concentrate anyway, so let's go. You know, change, good. But some people can't keep up, and you ask me, you know, where do I see them falling off at? That's one of them. People can't adapt to change. People accept or receive change different. Some people shut down and close off, depending on how drastic of a change it is. But there's one thing that's true in life: is change is constant, and it is like breathing. You know, it's gonna happen regardless. So pick your poison and deal with it, you know?
Sacrifice.
Survival of the fittest.
Sacrifice is in the game. Do you sacrifice a lot of family time or anything for this music?
Yeah. That's a great question.